What's up and welcome back to another video, and wow, this is not the video I intended to make today, but nonetheless, here we are. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands 2 is in development. To say I was flabbergasted at this discovery would be a flat out lie. I honestly was shocked at first, but then quickly realized, no, this is right up Gearbox's alley at this point. So late 2024 or 2025, we will more than likely see Borderlands 4, with now a second Lands game confirmed to be in development, that being Tiny Tina's Wonderlands 2. And if you're wondering when Wonderlands 2 would release, that would more than likely put it at a late 2026 release. Which, if the rumors of BL4 coming out next year are true, then that would put the Borderlands games at a 2-year block in between each release. Well, figuring they had issues putting together something halfway decent after half a decade between the pre-sequel and Borderlands 3, this raises some red flags for me pretty much immediately. And this would be the first time that we are aware of as fans that they're working on 2 Lands games this close together. And I'm just gonna say this. The first Wonderlands wasn't anything to write home about. Hell, why do you think Borderlands 2 has more average players than it? Not by accident, I can tell you that. And Borderlands 3 was a stick in the mud. We also need to keep in mind that these games were developed on their own. And yes, we can assume that Wonderlands 2 will be developed by an entirely different studio from the team who's working on the 4th game. But that just negates the idea that we've already struggled to do one of these games at a time. So now, with them developing 2 different Borderlands games at the same time, it honestly does one thing for me. It worries me even more. While I think it's going to be hard to get worse than what we got in the original Wonderlands game, why not just make Wonderlands a complete product? There were rumors of more potential DLC for the game, but it doesn't look like that's going to be coming to fruition. Instead, we've got Borderlands 4 to look forward to, and apparently Tiny Tina's Wonderlands 2. And if you're not aware where this information comes from, there was some leaks over on a main developer of the Borderlands series, and in his credits it listed that he was working on 2 products currently, both on the Unreal Engine 4, the same engine that made Borderlands 3 and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And in his credits it said Borderlands 4 and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands 2. And Gearbox has also went on record themselves saying that the first game did well enough to turn it into its very own franchise. I'll go ahead and put that on screen now. Man, there were so many directions they could have gone. This more than anything just makes me even less optimistic that we're going to get a comprehensive product from the Borderlands IP ever again, as Wonderlands was closer to pushing me away from the franchise than I have ever been. So a second one doesn't exactly make me want to jump out of my chair. Instead of doing the predictable industry standard of just pushing out quantity over quality, why not just take an extra year to perfect Borderlands 4? Cause man, they have to know by now, BL4 is make or break. We all continue to go back to our favorite games in the franchise, and usually, for most of us, that game is not Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So, even if it sold moderately okay, which we don't know if it did, as Gearbox still has never made the sales figures public, it's pretty hard to believe that it's doing that great, figuring Borderlands 2, 11 years after launch, is still getting more monthly players on average. Which, for me, I don't care what they say. Until they tell us how many copies that first Wonderlands game did, I'll write it off as a flop, as it did nothing but further damage to the franchise, and after launch support was quickly abandoned when the game turned out to be a disaster. If you're wondering where this stems from, it's a lot of things, whether it's the lack of in-game, no second playthrough, or the 100 fucking chaos levels. If you're asking me, it did more wrong than it did good. Why are we setting ourselves up to repeat history? Well, the only logical conclusion I can come to is money, I go. As why in the hell would they make another Wonderlands game? Like, actually, why? To say I'm disappointed would be an absolute understatement. I really had hoped that Borderlands 4 was further out than we thought, and they might actually take the time to really craft something special. Well, instead, we've all got this news here today, essentially confirming that within the next couple years, BL4 will release, and Wonderlands 2 shall follow. But all I can hope is that they can somehow make something happen after the dumpster fire that was the first Wonderlands. As there was some shit to like here, whether it was the better anointment system, the beautiful colors, and crazy looking maps. but there was nothing to do. You had the mythic rank, which no one cared about, and then the repeatable endgame, which was as boring as the dirt in my front yard. And the playable characters were honestly at their absolute worst here. All of them being completely derivative of other classes that we've already seen. For me, it's never been more clear that they are struggling to do something new. And it's never been more clear than it was with this game. Taking out grenade mods and putting spells in their place is not a game-changing mechanic. It's a reskin grenade mod. Get real. While I think combining classes was a cool idea in the first Wonderlands, it wasn't enough to get me to play through the game again. So, if most of us are in agreement that the first one is a lifeless, corporate shell of what the Land series used to be, curated in such a way to maximize profit for an underdelivered, half-baked product, and Gearbox is developing another one on the same damn engine, that being the Unreal Engine 4, we can expect to see copy and pasted assets and the trend of making fans pay more for less to continue. Because hey, if Call of Duty can release the same game time and time again, why can't Gearbox? So I imagine they'll continue these practices of less for more, and our patience will continue to wear thinner and thinner by the day. Because I'm telling you, even if this game turns out to be okay, it's not going to be enough. But yeah, that's really all I've got for you guys today. I hope you all did enjoy today's video. If you did, make sure to smash a like on it and subscribe if you guys are new. And please leave me your thoughts on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands 2 being announced down in the comments below. I love hearing what you guys have to say about all things Borderlands related. I thought this was a big topic that needed to be discussed as I didn't see a lot of creators doing it. And figuring this is one of our next big releases on the way within the next couple years, I thought it was important to go ahead and knock out my opinions on it. But yeah, I'm not real excited about it, to be honest, but I had to bring this news to you guys as it's a breaking story within the Borderlands community right now. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Are you excited for the next Tiny Tina's Wonderlands release? Do you think they're actually going to make this into its very own franchise and continue to tank our very favorite IP down into the ground? Or do you have hope for it? Do you think Wonderlands 2 can be okay? Do you think they can expand upon those ideas of the first game in a valuable way? And hell, maybe regain some of that OG fan base that they've been losing over the last couple years. But hey, no matter what, I love you guys to death. I want to thank you all for watching this video in its entirety. Please take it easy out there. Stay safe. Stay away from the chaos chambers. And with that, I will see you all in the next one.